Today on VIP TV, we've got Darren Tetley, who's in a magnificent 10-rounder against Jake James in Bolton on June 24. Excellent fight. Both fighters showing they're not afraid to take on anyone. And I think, Darren, you've shown that in the past anyway, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had a few tough fights. I've took a few, and I think that's I wouldn't even say I deserve credit for it. It's boxing. That's what you're meant to do. If I wanted to get my record to 50-0, I'm sure there'd have been a way to do it. Just fighting everyone else. But I want to test myself. I want to be in. For me now, especially the stage of my career, I want to be in fights. What kind of what people are going to be interested in. Not just fans, but journalists and people around boxing that they're going to be interested in and want to watch. And then obviously my fighting styles kind of I think I'm in good fights normally, so I just want to be in them fights what are interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the Dom Hunt fight, you was it a hand injury and that kept you out the gym for a long time, didn't it? I
Yeah,
remember speaking to Mike, and you'd only got back at the end of March into the gym to punch anyway, didn't you?
Yeah, so obviously there's just a disclaimer. I'm not claiming that's why I lost like that. Yeah, it went in the second round. And I felt it straight away. And then obviously the type of fight it was just an all out war. So I kind of didn't have a chance to think about it much. And then as I had a break after the fight and kind of sulking a little bit of how I was, and then I think I went back to the gym in like December, and it was still niggling. I could still feel it. I was thinking there's something not right. And then I went back to the gym in January, and it was still the same. And I thought I'm gonna have to go get this looked at because it's not it's something a bit more than what we thought. And it was a sagittal band injury that I had, and I think I was back in the gym. I think end of March. I think it was end of March. Back in the gym punching, and I've kind of luckily it's not come back to bite me since. So it's healed nice. I had physio on it, and kind of just listen. I had a 3 month off work, so I had plenty of time to really rest it and get it to where it needed to be to obviously come back, because at that point, there was no fight lined up. I had no fight, no date, so I was just solely focusing on getting my hand right.
Yeah. So for this fight, was you tempted? Well, okay. Well, when I remember when the match was made, I spoke to Mike Marsden, and he just said you just both took this fight without even thinking it was a fight you fancied from the off. Why is that?
I just think I've won 21, lost 4. Um, regardless of I've lost that. I think I've boxed 10, I don't know, don't quote, about 11 people with winning records. And for me, I think if I was to go back and have five or six rounders, I could be very easily 6-0 in my next 6 fights, if that's what I wanted. But I just think for me, it's false. What's the word? Like false confidence, false. It's a false record. I'm not interested in that. And then as far as this fight exactly, it's if you look at the level I boxed at, what and this is I genuinely don't mean this in a bad way, but why would I turn Jake James down? When if you look at the people I boxed, I wouldn't do it. And it's a fight that can get me back to where I need to be. And boxing 2, 3, 6 rounders and then taking a fight like this, it's a perfect fight to come back to. I'm not going to jump straight back into a title fight because I'm not going to get one. I'm not going to get a title fight off beating 5 or 6 journeymen. So it's kind of like it's a perfect fight and a perfect a perfect opponent to come back to. And yeah, we didn't, like I say, we didn't bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
Straight away. It was just yeah.
As you say, you win this, you're beating someone who's unbeaten in 13, 14 fights. It's the sort of thing that will get you another TV fight. Because these TV prospects who have got titles now will look at your record and see you've lost 4, albeit against Liam Taylor, Samuel Antwi, Echo Esserman, and Dom
Yeah.
Hunt.
That's the thing, Steve. And I'm under no illusion that the only reason this fight's happening is because I'm 1-4 in my last 5 fights. I'm under, and whether they agree with that or not. If I was 5-0 in them fights,
yeah,
this fight wouldn't be happening. So I'm under no illusion that they think I'm on the slide, and maybe my mindset more before the Dom Hunt fight. That fight really did, especially with the injury. It just made me look. I had to. There come a point where you can have 3, 4, 5 excuses in your head, and especially the Dom Hunt fight, I was sat at home and I was kind of thinking about these excuses was in my head, and but then there comes a point where you have to look yourself in the mirror and think, hang on a minute, they might be viable excuses, but their excuse is what you've caused. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to look yourself in the mirror, and I did that, and I got a telling off at home from my wife. Basically making me look myself in the mirror and look at what I've done wrong, and now it's a perfect fight to kind of put them things right, and I think they've got me at the wrong time, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I just was you how aware are we? What do you know about Jake, or should I say, how aware of you were him before this fight came about? Because you'd been boxing at a level where Jake was still boxing 6 rounders, where you was at that level of Echo Esserman and the likes.
Yeah, and I know Jake from international amateur days. Where I think we both boxed for England at the same time. So obviously I know. I think he was a lot lighter than me then. I don't know if he boxed at like 57 or something like that. Obviously I knew who he was. It's not a fight that you kind of would, obviously after the Esserman fights and stuff, you wouldn't necessarily think you're going to be boxing him, but you do, especially when you lose it. Like I lost to Echo Esserman and stuff like that. You do, and Dom, you do look at fighters coming up, and because you're thinking, for me to get to to that level, I'm gonna have to fight one of these who are coming up. That's how boxing works. Yeah. They wanna go up, and I wanna go up. So I knew obviously who he was from the amateur days. I know he was a very successful amateur and a very good fighter, and obviously I know he's got Crawler in his corner, who was obviously a brilliant fighter himself. So I'd be lying if I said I didn't know who he was. Of course I know who he was. And I know he's got a lot of ability as well. So I'm under no illusion that it's a hard fight. It's not an easy fight, but it's also not an easy fight for them either, regardless of how my form looks.
Yeah. Just final question before I think you got it right. I think he must probably see this as a very hard fight, but like you, he'll be thinking winnable, like you are, won't he?
Yeah, without that, if he wasn't, I'm sure there'd be other fights that he could take, other roads he can go down and stuff like that. So I think every boxer has a mindset of, I can win this fight. I boxed Esserman and I thought the same things. I just thought I'd have little Vicks that I could do it and beat him. And for me, the experience I've gained, I think not just in the ring in these fights, but out of the ring. Like for example, the Liam Taylor fight got brought forward a week. The Esserman fight got brought forward a week. So I've been in all these different situations in boxing outside of the ring that have kind of mentally got me in a better place. And I remember the Cartwright fight. I buried my granddad the day before, so I went to my granddad's funeral the day of the weigh-in, 2 hours before the weigh-in. So mentally, I don't think there's many people, that could do stuff like that and then go out and weigh in a public weigh and then fight the day after. So these are the little experiences that, not just from a boxing point of view, from a boxing life type, out of the ring, that I can use as an advantage and stuff.
Yeah, there's something very old school about you. You just take fights and that's it. But of those four, that's the final question. Of those four defeats, if I said to you and the terms were right for you financially in the fight, which one of those four would you like to have again if you could only have one of them, and why?
I think if you take titles out of it,
yeah, just the one fight you could have, and the terms are right for you. That you could only have one fight out of those four. If someone said to you, you can have one rematch of those next, which one would you have, and why?
Honestly, and who do you think it'd be?
You know what? I thought Taylor, because I just thought a lot of people fancy you to win that. I don't. That's all them fight. I think Esserman's very. I just think Esserman's someone who's just come on and just keeps better than what we think. I just think Taylor was the fight. A lot of people thought you would win, and I think that wasn't you in there that night. That of all them fights, I haven't seen the Dom Hunt fight, by the way.
Yeah. So for me, believe it or not, it would be the Dom Hunt fight.
Really, I haven't seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah, just because I kind of how I was in the lead up, and just stuff like that. Just I was kind of, I don't know the word, kind of, I don't know, I can't think of the word, like disrespected boxing in a way. How I was leading up to it, I didn't take it lightly. I knew it was a hard fight, but I just thought, I'll beat him. I'll have too much. I'll beat him, and the diet and stuff like that, and making the weight, and I just wasn't professional. And I think that out of all the fights I look back on, that's probably the one where I kicked myself the most.
Interesting that.
The Taylor fight, I performed. It was a really good fight, and I obviously started the first round brilliant, and then got sat on my ass in the second and third. So, that. But then I think I kind of shown positives because I clawed my way back, and then obviously the Antwi fight. I guess the Antwi fight. I don't know what went wrong there. Esserman fight, I was probably never given a chance. So that. But then I think the Dom Hunt fight, because of just the way I boxed. I mean, it was brilliant for everyone watching because it was just an all-out war.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, unfortunately. I'll have to try and look for it over the weekend somewhere.
Yeah, but then obviously for me and Mick, when we speak afterwards, and like Mick was saying to me, that how the fight went was what I was worried about. And it was hard to say because you go from, at the time you push it to one side, but you went from Wembley Stadium, 90,000, to the Magna Centre in Rotherham for a central area, and you're trying to push it. It's not going to have an effect on me, and maybe it did, but I think my own mentality of I have not a saying, but the thought process I had was, especially with the weight, I'll always make weight, always. If I had to make 9 stone 9, I'd make 9 stone. Would I perform at 9 stone 9? No chance. No. But if I had to step on scales to make 9 stone 9 for something, then I'd do it. But so I had that mindset of, I'll make weight. The Dom Hunt fight, all the way leading up.
I've lost you there. I've just lost you there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you said the Dom Hunt fight, and then you cut out for a second.
Yeah, so obviously in the making the weight, it was like all the way through I was thinking, I'll make weight. I want a bottle of Dr. Pepper. I'll get the weight off. But not once did I ever think of, will I be able to perform when I get did I do it the right way? So for me, that's probably the one fight where I kind of let myself down more than, more than anything else. And again, I'm not taking anything away from Domon. Is a sound guy. I really like him, but I'm not saying it. The result could be different. I'm not. That's just speculation. I'm not bothered about that. But for my own conscience and my own mentality, that is the one fight where I feel like I let myself down in the, not just in the fight but in the build up. And now I've got this fight and I can kind of, different opponent, but I can, all them things where I messed up, I've got the opportunity to put it right now. And if I was in a 6-round fight against a journeyman, a lot of boxers might for the camera say I'd do it, but if I was fighting a journeyman, would I sneak a McDonald's every now and then? Probably. But I know obviously against Jake James, I can't do that because I've messed up in that way before. So, I'm not doing it again.
Well, I tell you what, it's been brilliant speaking to you this morning. I know you're on a break from work, so thank you even more for joining us. Thanks very much for joining us on VIP TV. Darren Tetley, we look forward to seeing you in Bolton.
Thanks for having me on, mate. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.